Hey everybody, Paul here. Today I want to show you how to use TradingView, which is, in my opinion, the best charting package out there. There are others. You can use MetaTrader 4, but in my opinion it's nowhere near as good. There are different versions you can buy, or you can use the free version of TradingView, which is absolutely fine. You do get ads pop up every 5 minutes or so, but you just click out of them and then you can carry on, and most of the functionality is there. I think the only thing that you don't get is the ability to set alarms, or more than one, and templates are restricted and things like that. But certainly to start with, a free a free membership is more than fine. So let's just have a look. So this is where you enter your pairs. So if you start with GBP, it will list all the different pairs that you can potentially look at. If you move away from Forex, you've got CFDs, cryptocurrencies, etc., etc. You obviously want to keep it on the Forex, and we could go down here and say go GBP, JPY. Now these appear more than once because it's different company. So Oanda is one company. We have Forex.com. FXCM is the company that is the broker that I use. So I tend to use their charts because they're then 100% accurate when it comes to placing a trade. And there's very little difference between them, but there might be difference in spreads, etc., etc. Now when it comes to doing a basic chart and marking out support and resistance, depending on what kind of trader you are, if you're a swing trader, you would go to the day charts to start with. If you're more of a scalper, then you wouldn't necessarily need to bother going to a day chart, but it's always good to just have a look and get a feel for what's happening on the day chart. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click and I'm going to go remove, and then remove all drawing tools. And I find the best way to mark up initial support and resistance is to go to the line indicator. So up here you can choose candles. Renko can sometimes be good as well, but that only works on the daily, I believe, unless you have an even higher subscription to TradingView, which I don't. I only have like the Pro package, but I like to use lines because it's very clean and the lines only mark where the price finished, so it eliminates wicks and things like that. So what we're looking for is areas where price has struggled or hit various occasions and not gone past. So there is a fine example. So if you want to mark that, you can either go up here and use your shortcuts, or what you would do is you just come along to the left here where the lines are, go horizontal line and mark it there. Now it's not that precise, in all honesty. You want to have is more of an area as opposed to a specific line. So you can come up here and reduce the thickness of the line. You can change the color, and what I like to do is I have a different color according to what hour on the chart you are. So if it's daily, you might want to use purple, for example. And then what I do, because it's not just a specific line and it's more of an area, I come in here and just draw a rectangle like so, because it's the zone or the area that you're looking at more than just one individual line. So that's roughly where price has hit several times and failed to break through. So it's a major area to be aware of. Now there's no point in marking up here because price is all the way down here, so there's no point in cluttering your chart. what you can do is you can click on it and then come up and lock it like so, and then when you're moving around you don't move. This one has moved because I didn't lock it, but once you plonk it in there, lock, and then it remains in place until you decide to delete it. So we can now drop down to the 4-hour chart. Again, we can mark our hour support and resistance if it differs from the daily. So on the 4-hour now, this looks quite big, so what I'll probably do is just reduce the size just by highlighting again and bringing it down a tad more, like that, and then locking it again. And now what we're looking for is other areas that potentially we wouldn't have found or we couldn't see on the daily, that we can now see on the 4-hourly. So here maybe potentially you could draw another line. So I'll go to my indicator here and I'll draw a line there, and I'll change it to orange, which is my 4-hour colour, just as an example. Now if you're marking out your charts and you like to draw all these lines, rather than keep going up here and selecting it each time, if you select the little pencil or the crayon and the lock and then come up here, you can draw multiple lines without having to go and select it each time. So that's a very useful tip right there. And that's something that took me ages before I discovered that. I noticed people doing it a lot and I thought, how come they're doing that? Maybe it's a different package or something like that. But no, they were just smarter than me. But eventually I got there, and I'll tell you what, let's just clear this. It's going to take me ages to clear them. So remove drawing tools. Okay. And again, you get the idea. Let's just do one quickly for the 4-hour. We want to be fairly close to where price is, so we could probably drop one in about there. Highlight. What about in the vicinity of where price is? Yeah. Okay, well we'll leave it at that. Go to the 1-hour. Now if you come down here and you just hover over the middle, you get these little options here. If you click on the middle one, it brings the chart to like a central point, and then the minus brings the time in, which is the same as just dragging the time in here along the bottom. Sometimes you have to lower the price action for it to go any further. That's as far as it wants to go on the 1-hour chart, and by clicking that you go back again. Now if you want to change your colours, some people like the black screen, some people like to have a white screen. I find after a while a white screen really plays on your eyes. You can come down to properties, background, and you can change your background to white, or sort of like an off grey, which is what I do sometimes. Obviously you have to tweak all the other colours. There's two themes, so you can have a light theme and it highlights everything, and just give me a second for my eyes to adjust, or you can have a dark theme like so. And then what you can do is you can play around with the theme and say, okay, I actually want the candles to be purple rather than red, as an example, and I want the background lines to be virtually impossible to see, like so. So they're there, but they're almost so insignificant that your eyes don't get bothered by them. So they're still there as a very faint reference. Okay, and then what you can do, I believe, yeah, so you can click on template, come up to template and click save, give it a name, save it, and then all you need to do is come down, color theme, and click on the template of your choice. So I have a daily trading theme. This still needs a bit of work. When you select it from dark, the outside stays dark, but the middle bit goes to the color that you want. So you have to come back again, go to color theme, and go to light, and then select your daily theme. I don't know if that's a bug or if that's just the way it works. So if I now try and go dark theme, you can see the main trading area has gone black, but the outside is still white. Now some people might like that, but I find again it just plays havoc with my eyes, so I would then have to go dark, which goes back to default. Then you go in and change to your dark theme, and you've got the colours and everything else that you've set up accordingly. I often recommend that you only learn or follow, if you like, half a dozen pairs, so you get to learn how they move and almost like the personalities behind each pair. What I tend to do is I have most of them listed here, but if you click on the top right hand corner here where it says add symbol, I created a sub menu, if you like, called 4 trades following, and you can select them and put them in here, the ones that you want to follow on a daily basis or ones that you think there might be a potential trade for. So you could put in here GBP USD if, for example, you know that's a pair that you want to look. Make sure that you've got the broker of your choice. It might not be your actual broker, but I like to stick to one of these, otherwise the results can be slightly inconsistent. Highlight that, and then you've got it there, and you can watch these and you don't have to worry about the long list. But here it's just convenient on a weekend, on a Sunday evening, if you're going through and just picking 3 or 4 charts that have the highest, probabilities of a decent trade. Highlight them here, just remove them by clicking on them again, and you think, okay, so it's NZD CAD, for example. You would then come over here, select your 4 trades following and trading. If there isn't one here, you can just come up, create new list, and then you just pop the pair in there, and then it will save it in there for you. If you want to get rid of this bar here, because let's face it, it does take up quite a lot of your trading area, you just select it. So selecting it once brings it into play, selecting it again gets rid of it. This icon here is for alarms. Now, alarms are particularly useful for anyone who works full time and doesn't want to be sat in front of the charts all day, and let's face it, who really does? What you do is you just get a line and you mark where, whoops, wrong one, delete this one. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to follow the trajectory of the fork in this case, but it could be a support and resistance line that you could mark. So we could put that on there. So then when price hits this warning line or this line, it sends you an alarm. So manage alarms, plus, and as you can see, again, according to which subscription you've got, it will put a pop-up on the screen, it will play a sound, it will send you an email, and if your emails make a noise on your smartphone, that is more than sufficient quite often. It will send text messages. There's not something I've set up, even though that's highlighted. It doesn't actually do anything for me because I haven't set it up properly. And then the basic message is just prices crossing that line, but you can also add, look for retest and sell, for example, or look for break into fork and buy, and that's it. That's all you do. Again, you'd want to lock it into place like so, with a little padlock at the top. If you don't have this floating bar area here, I can't remember where the padlock is. It might be just, no, it might be, I'm not sure if it's that one or not. I'd have to find it, but it's amongst one of these anyway. That may actually, that locks all drawing tools. Oh, there we go. So even though I've learned something new, it's not one I normally use. But if you don't, if this moves, because I locked it up there as well, it's no use to you if your warning line has ended up down there by accident and price hits here, and you rush to check on your mobile phone, actually it's nowhere near the area that you need it to, simply because it's been moved by accident. So always lock your lines in place, like so. The eye here will hide all the highlighted tool, or all the tools. This one here. If I can drag that down, we've got functionality to just bring things back like you would do in Word and Excel and most products. This tool here, a couple more interesting tools. Let's get rid of a pitchfork, and we will zoom in. Okay. So the ruler measures how many pips between price and whatever it is that you want to measure. So it could be a resistance line, or the median on the fork, for example. And this tells you that from price to here is just over is 81 pips. Okay, bring it down further, 30 pips, 20 pips, etc, etc. You bring it this way, so minus 60, minus 89, etc. So that is a useful tool. You can also use this tool here, the long position tool and the short position tool. So the long position tool, you drop on price, you can drag it to however many pips that you want to be in profit, and then this to where you want your stop loss to be. And then what you can do, once you highlight it, come up here to the cog coordinates, and it tells you your take profit price, it tells you your stop loss price. So 705 would be just over 70 pips. Um, 1,307 would be 130 pips. So 100, this is pipettes, so 100 is 10 pips. 50 pips, 50 pipettes rather, is 5 pips. Okay, so you can come in here, make sure that your entry price is correct. Then you just say, okay, so I'm expecting to get 30 pips. There, whoops, excuse me. and my stop loss is 25 pips, and that marks it all out for you as a good visual aid. Again, lock it in place and you're done. So it works in two ways. You can either put it on and then type in the coordinates of your entry price, how many pips you want to aim for, what your stop loss is going to be, and then copy these details here into your MetaTrader 4, or you can work out using it as a visual aid and say, right, well, I expect price to come just below the previous high, and that is, 215 pips, and I think I need a 50 pip stop loss. And you could just come here and see the price there, read the price off there, or again just come up to the cog and take the coordinates off of the tab, and it works exactly. So that's long, so obviously your stop loss is below and your take profit is high in green. But if we're going the other way, you would select the other tool, you would select the short position. So now you can see that we're expecting price to go down, so you could say my stop loss is there, 60 pips just above the resistance line, and I expect to gain 152 pips. Again, you can come in here and say, right, let's make it a bit more accurate. 1500 is 150 pips. My stop loss is currently 59. Let's just 660 pips. Okay, there's your entry price, which you can adjust, and again works as a brilliant aid to come back to the chart, and you can see exactly what price is doing in relation to where you placed your trade. So if price, which is this line here, and you can change the color of that, is up here, obviously you're in profit. If it's in the red, then obviously you're in drawdown and you're not in profit. So that's how that works. Very useful tool. Again, you can come here, and where the letter T is, you can just stick a message. So I like to put trade taken. Some people have a notebook and write down the trades that they take and why they've taken them and the price that they took them at. I just drop it in here because it's sometimes easier. So trade taken on the 25th of May at 8:30. Break a trend line. Something like that. Just so it gives you a visual reminder of why you took the trade when you come back 3 or 4 hours later. Again, lock that in place, or that's got the potential to be lost. Other useful tools, obviously you've got the diagonal line here. Let's just clear some of this up a bit. I've still got the diagonal tool on, so okay. We'll get rid of that one as well. So, as you can see, we have a downtrend. Now there's two tools you can use. You can use the trend line and come from the top all the way down to the bottom, and I like to try and connect as many points as possible. Again, oops, it's often best to go to line, which is not doing for me, is it? Let's give it something to complain about first, because it's not very happy. So line, okay, and then 1 hour. There we go. Right, and then reset. Okay, so now there's 2 ways to mark trend lines. Now what I like to do is I like to join up as many high points as possible. So we could say here, and you know, it depends on you really how you see it. There's no definite right or wrong way. I could go here. Yeah, you wouldn't really go there because you're missing too many points there. So I would go around there. Again, you would lock it if you wasn't just doing a demonstration like I am, and then you would get one the other way and you would bring it down this way. So now you can see how price respects these 2 trend lines. Comes up, comes back, retests, goes down, hits this trend line, comes back up, retests, retests, come down, retests, comes back down again. Now it may come down all the way here, or it may come back up and then come down, or it may come back up and break the trend line altogether. So when price hits here, what you would do is you could enter a trade for a sell, because price is going down anyway. You're going with the trend. If price is here, yes, you could get in a buy and you would get 120 pips. Very nice too, but there's slightly more risks to it because you're going against the trend. The trend is down and you're going up. So personally, I would either wait for price to hit the trend line again, come back up and retest, then get in for a sell and hope it comes down, or you could wait for it to come all the way down and then potentially grab a buy when it goes back up. Again, you could put an alarm here just inside the trend line. Obviously you could make it longer, change it to a different color. You would just go in here, let's just go back and show you. So you can just double click on it and go alert, and you come back to the same window that you would have done if you'd gone in here, and you can just I think pretty much it just saves everything that you did last time, so you can just click OK unless you want to add any more information in there. Obviously lock it in place, and away you go. You can then come back in and go back to your candles if you so wish. Okay, that's one way. The other way, and I will just delete these, and I will get rid of my alert because that will look rather silly. So the other tool, and we'll come up here, is where are you? The parallel channel. So you would start up here, draw the initial line just like you did first time, click, and then you just drag it across, and you would stop on the wicks of the candles. Left click and it's now in place. And again, once in here, a lot of people like this. I've used them. It's a good visual aid. You can do them in different colors again. So you could come here, the border you could make orange if it's on your 4 hour, or green if it's on your 1 hour, and then you could change the inner part to blue to represent your 1 hour charts, for example, or green, or whatever it may be. And again, you would use it in exactly the same way. So if price breaks the trend line, comes back, retests it, then goes off, that's when you then enter your buy. If price comes down here, if then price comes down here, breaks the trend line, let's do the arrows, comes up, retests, then comes back down, that's when you take your sell. And likewise here. So price breaks the trend line. Ooh, yeah, it's coming back. Let's make it green because it's going up. So price breaks the trend line, comes back, retests. That's where you take your buy. You wait for, you don't go on the impulsive move, you wait for it to retest, then you go. Okay, so again, just come down, remove all drawing tools, and that's it in a nutshell. Or let's just do a pitchfork quickly, find somewhere. So there's loads of pitchforks and Fibonacci's and what have you, which, you know, it's probably for another lesson anyway, but let's just show you how to draw them. So you can come up here, you can select your pitchfork, or there's loads of others, look, fib circles, spirals, various different types of pitchfork. But select your pitchfork, come down here, come down to a swing low, up to the swing high, and then down to a swing low. Now that's more or less a traditional pitchfork once we have made sure that they're all in the right position. So I used the magnet tool to magnify the area, which was this one, and as you can see, the edge of the fork is not on the wick like it should be. So I come down and I use the little magnet button, then I grab the pitchfork and it automatically goes down to the nearest wick. So I'll lock it because sometimes they have a tendency to move. Zoom out again, zoom back in, select your area. Now this isn't to teach you how to draw pitchforks, it's just to show you the tool. So there again, you've got the magnet there, it's still on. You can, oh, I locked it, didn't I? There we go. So you can pull it over here and it'll just automatically grab that one or that one. That's the one we're after, so it's dropped onto that one nicely. Zoom out one more time, and now we'll find our initial point, and then once that's in place we will have our traditional pitchfork that is ready to trade. And there we go. So now all 3 points are in place. We can come up, select it, lock it, and then once it's locked we can come in up here and change the colours to anything we fancy. Click on the cog gives you properties, so you can add different lines, etc. We can add a background if we so wish, or a hint of a background, or a full-blown background. So there you have it. And it's pretty much all the tools pretty much work in the same way. So there you go. I hope you found this useful. Any questions or comments, feel free to drop them in the comments box below, depending on where you see this. If it's on Facebook, if it's in the membership site, then and you're a member, then do let me know whether it's on the weekly sessions or whether you just want to drop a message in the comments box. You can do that and I'll get back to you as quickly as possible. So that's about it for this session. Have a great day.